Hello, how are you tonight? I am going to do a very rare long video tonight. And, okay? It's based on something that I focused on with when I worked in peer support, and I feel is very, very important. It's, uh, it's a point of communication, and it's a point of very poor communication and something that we commonly do every day, including me. And it is called patronizing. Okay? And I'm also going to come up with a way to turn it around where it's not patronizing somebody. Okay? All right, let me just give you examples of basically patronizing is when you don't know what to say to a person. It's okay. I do the same thing, but it's practice like anything else. It's just something we do every day, and it hurts a person more than it helps them. And we all do it. I've done it, but it takes practice like any form of communication or listening. It takes practice. So to say, hey, look, I'm not going to patronize this person anymore because it's hurting them. Okay? That's basically what patronizing is. When you have nothing else, when you don't know what else to say to a person, you just say the first thing that comes to mind, and it's very demeaning and condescending to the human being, okay? Very. It's hurtful. And I will give you examples, okay? Best ones I can, all right? Basically, all right, let's say somebody says, when you talk about patronizing, it's basically you're going against what the person is feeling. That's what it is. Okay, let's just say that. And a perfect example is, as somebody would say to me, which I've heard before, I don't feel young, I feel horrible, okay? And with the status of my life, um, never been married, never had kids, which I'm disclosing. And I live with that pain. Trauma in my life led to that every day. And I'll say it to people. It was hard to believe, 59 years old, never been married, never had kids. And I tell people that, and they'll say to me, oh, you're still a baby, you're still young. You know how condescending that is to me? Very condescending at 59 years old. You know why they're saying that? Because they don't have the lived experience. Get it? They don't have. These are people that already have kids, have a family, can't relate to me. They're 29, they have kids and a family. It doesn't matter how old they are. Could be older than me. But they've lived. They've had the experience, so they'll say to me, oh, you're still young. You can have kids. You realize at my age now, I'm going to be 60 years old. Anybody out there relate? See, if you have kids and a family, it's a different experience. You've already lived your life. Then you could say, or other things, done other things in your life, and you could say, okay, I've achieved and lived my life. I don't feel that way. That's what it comes down to. Understand me? And no, at my age, to be in this position, for me to have kids, by the time I enjoy them, I'll be 75 years old. And that's the way I feel. And when somebody says to me, oh, you're still so young, they're not coming from my experience. They're coming from their own lived experience. They've had the experience. That's one of the worst forms of patronizing, at least to me anyway. So, anyway, another one would be somebody that hasn't had a good day or something like that, or just doesn't feel good about themselves, period. Just not feeling good emotionally or whatever, and you don't know what else to say, and you say to the person, "Oh, but you're a great person." Ever heard that one before? You think you're doing good by them, but guess what? You're not. The person doesn't feel good by them, doesn't feel good. You follow their lead to how they feel. We have to know where a person is at emotionally before we speak. You can't say to a person that feels like crap, you can't say, "Oh, but you're a great person." I used to do that on the peer support line when I worked the phone line. I learned my lessons, and I'd have people say, "What's so great about it?" It's because they don't feel good about themselves. So that's what it comes down to. Okay, there's so many. Somebody comes up to you and says, I'm just giving you examples that maybe trigger a little bit. And say, well, I've heard that before. Somebody that's not feeling good, especially if it's a child talking to a parent that comes home from school, says, I don't feel good. This is what happened to me, blah, blah, blah. And then you just say, look on the bright side. One of the most common. That's patronizing. Now, after you say that, how do you think the person's going to feel? You're not listening. You're not listening. Okay? And the person's going to feel like crap because they already feel like crap. Okay? All right. Another one is when somebody comes to you with a problem that you haven't experienced and you say, oh, I know exactly how you feel. I'm sure you've heard it. Didn't feel good, did it? You tell me. Okay. Another one is, oh, I don't feel good, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I understand. How do you understand? You haven't had the experience. The proper thing that I would say as an experienced peer support specialist would be to say, well, no, I haven't had your experience and I can't even imagine, but I am here if you'd like to talk about it, and I'd like to know how you feel. Blah, blah. That's the proper way. Not, oh, I know how you feel, I understand. How could you possibly understand someone if you haven't had the experience? Or if you have had the experience, you could say, oh, I can relate. I have had that experience. I can relate in my own experience, my own way. Okay? These are perfect examples. All right? All right, well, there's a lot of them. Okay? And I'm sure you've heard a lot of them. Another one would be somebody says, oh, I don't feel good. Just get over it. There's another one. Person's going to walk away. You make them feel like doo-doo. Okay? All right. I think I've given you enough. You know what I'm talking about. The proper thing to do is listen. Know where a person is at emotionally. Let them talk. Listen. And the right thing to do is ask questions. Don't come from your own experience if you haven't had their experience, okay? Ask questions. Look, I'm truly sorry that you've been through that experience. If you'd like to talk about it, I'm here. That is up to you. No, I can't imagine what you've been through, but I will listen to you. There you go. That's also called following the lead. You try and let a person talk, you know where they're at, give them a chance, and then let them talk, and then you speak either from your own experience or just ask questions if you haven't had their experience, and give them a chance, give them a voice, okay? And cut out the patronizing. Ah, move on, get over it. Oh man, those are the worst, and I'm sure you heard them all, okay? I'm still practicing, but I know if somebody goes through something, I'm going to say, no, I can't imagine what you've been through, but I'm here for you. Proper thing to say, okay? I'm going to leave it at that. There are many, believe it or not, there are other forms of patronizing too, which I've mentioned in the past. I'll mention again in videos after this, but I'm just focusing on this is one form of patronizing. Listen, learn, come from a place of curiosity, ask questions. Yes, it does take practice. Okay? Hope that all makes sense. Long video. I wish you all well. Get over it. Mm-mm. You heard it. You know how it feels. Talk to you later on. Bye. Thank you. Thank you for listening.